Okay, right. Hello, everybody. Welcome to this BME information session. We will actually scheduled to start at 10:30, but we had some technical problem. We were using a wrong account, so we've been waiting for a few minutes already. But now we've got the right account, and we see all the guests have logged in. Now, in this 45-minute session, I'm going to share with you more details about the BME program at CUHK. Then I'll have some sharing sessions from alumni of this program. And then finally, we have some online question and answer activity. Well, before I start, let me introduce myself. Kevin Ho, I'm a professor here. And then to my right, it's Mr. Arvin Hui. Then to my left, it's Mr. Jeremy Wong and Oscar here. And as you noticed, the three of them are actually alumni of this program from different years. And later on, we can ask them questions and they'll share with you their learning experience. Now, in this 45-minute program, I'm going to split it into 3 parts. As you can see, this is actually how we're going to divide the time. First 15 minutes, I'll do a PowerPoint presentation about our program. And then in the second part, it's another 15 minutes sharing from our 3 alumni. And then finally, we'll have a Q&A session. I'm going to share my PowerPoint file now. Right. Now, I only have 15 minutes now. It's actually much less than that. So the 19 slides that I'm going to share with you, I might actually need to go through them in a relatively fast speed. So the biomedical engineering program at CUHK, the Jupyter's code is JS4460. And we have a motto when we actually set up the department. We explore, we care, and we innovate. And those are the attributes that we aim to impart in our graduates when they leave our programs. And the name biomedical engineering, as the name stands, is actually an interdisciplinary program between biology, medicine, and engineering. The idea of setting up this program actually came up quite a while ago, about 20 years ago, when Faculty of Medicine saw that they require instruments, they require a lot of tools to treat patients, electronics, mechanics, even patient bed, everything, in fact, is concerned with engineering. And so they actually came to our faculty, and then they started raising this issue to see if there is a chance of using engineering elements to help them. So it's an intersection between biology, medicine, and engineering. These engineering and biological techniques to solve medical problems for the welfare of mankind. Now, in fact, ever since mankind existed, our health needs to be taken care of. So when we feel sick, we need to do something. And so people actually, over time, have invented many devices to help us treat diseases. As you can see, I'm sure there were many before. We have thermometers, stethoscope, endoscope, X-ray, and then heart pacemaker, and then more recently MRI and computed tomography. And all these are actually based on physics, chemistry, and biology. Then create a device that will actually help us treat diseases and see the inside of the body. And then more recently, we even have robots to help us perform very accurate surgery. We call it minimally invasive surgery, which is actually what the Chinese university Hong Kong has been very famous for in the world. And another discipline which has been expanding all the time is actually implantable devices. We have artificial heart valve, orthopedic implants, and then intraocular lenses that you can actually help people to see better. And the market is expanding, and you can see those numbers, in terms of hundreds of billions of US dollars every year, just for the US alone and worldwide. Okay, so there is a big market, and also now we see that molecular biology, like genes, proteins, and cells, are advancing, and we are beginning to use those techniques to treat patients, cancers, infectious diseases like COVID-19 that we're now seeing. Everything concerned with health and molecular level is expanding. Now imagine if you have an operating theater and it's now fully loaded with all these instruments. If you don't have them, how would the doctor be able to treat you? So as you can see, there is a lot of opportunities for biomedical engineering. And imagine if you actually, don't have any bioengineered body implants like artificial skins and so on, and wound healing plasters, a lot of patients will die. So what does BME, our program, offer in terms of education? We try to train our graduates to be able to think quantitatively, to be able to use numbers to analyze problems, so that they can come up with new designs and innovations, so that they can actually solve biomedical problems. Okay, and our courses are actually taught by engineering professors, medicine and science. In fact, our department, colleagues here, professors here, only teach about 1/3 of the courses, because the other 2/3, some from faculty of medicine by doctors and others from professors from science. Now it comes to the actual program, admission. Now we emphasize on English. We emphasize on mathematics and science subjects. So we actually put a rating of 1.5 to those subjects. Okay. What about our admission, typical admission scores? Now, our university actually uses a slightly expanded score called the new conversion. Okay, and they try to amplify the 5 and 5 stars and 5 double stars by putting in an additional score. As you can see at the table at the bottom, 8.5 for 5 double star, and then 5.5 for 5. If you add them all up, our admission score is actually median 29 and the low quartile 27.5. Now, if you actually use the typical common best 5 score criteria, then our median is 25 for the last year, the one that we just been through. So this summer, the median of our JUPAS admitted students is 25 for the best 5. And among them, physics is the biggest subject our students have taken, and then followed by chemistry and biology, and then M2 and M1. Okay, so 40% of them take 3 science subjects, and 52 of them to take 2 science subjects. The Chinese University of Hong Kong is very famous for its capacity to give out scholarships. We have a lot of scholarships on offer by the university, by the colleges of the university, by our engineering faculty, and as well as our own BME departments. So if you're interested, please explore our website. And we encourage our students to participate in international competitions and conferences too. So some of our undergraduate students, we sponsor them to attend conferences and meetings and competitions overseas. Our curriculum. The university requires graduates to achieve 123 credits, and of which 75 come from Faculty of Engineering and our program, and the other 48 actually are common to university core
subjects. And then the program has three streams: the medical instrumentations and biosensors, biomedical imaging, informatics and modeling, and molecular cells and tissue engineering. And you can see the distribution between the three streams. These are actually senior year streams that students can take. They can even opt out of those streams and just take a conventional BME program. Now, each of our students actually need to go through a summer practical training at the Prince of Wales Hospital, and basically 2 weeks training of how the hospitals is run, and then our students also have opportunities to have internships in overseas universities. This is actually a list of some of our students' destinations. And then we also send students to work in local industries in the government and in the hospitals and also in universities. And then our students, just like most of our CUHK students, have opportunities to go overseas exchange. Now, what do our graduates end up working for? And this is actually a list of companies that have hired our graduates, including our alumni who are actually sitting here. Our graduate work for government, the hospitals and government department, predominantly the EMSD. And also some of the supplier of medical equipment like Siemens, Philips, and so on. And some of them actually work for hospital authority. In fact, that's the biggest employer of our graduates. And then what about the salary levels? And we did some survey about our graduates. And then, the salary ranged from just over 14,000 a month to 46,000 a month, depending on the position that they have engaged in. And the median or average monthly salary is 29,000 plus. Right, so this is the last slide of my presentation. And we welcome everybody to actually talk to us today through the Zoom sessions. We have Zoom sessions for the whole day, and also other times through email. So I think I'll quickly switch over to my alumni supporters. Okay, right. So I'm going to. So now I'm going to introduce my alumni to you, Arvind, Jeremy, and Oscar. Now you can do your sharing.
Okay.
How about we start from Oscar?
Okay. Good morning, everyone. I'm Oscar, and I'm now working at the hospital authority, public hospital right now, and as an assistant biomedical engineer. And I graduated in 2014, and also I complete training scheme A held by the HKIE last year. And I also finished my master degree, but not in the biomedical engineering, but in other engineering section is called building service engineer. So I will briefly introduce myself and then pass to.
Before you start, let me ask you a question.
Yes.
What is the current job duty? What is the current project that you're working on?
And my current work duty can be divided into two parts. The one part is the hands-on techniques. That means you have to responsible for the basic repair and maintenance of the medical equipment. And also you have to follow some incidents that caused by the medical equipment faulty, and you have to report to the doctors, nurses, and also to minimize the incidents effect in the lower level for the patients. And this is one part of my hands-on works. And the other part is the contract management. Sometimes that because there are different types of the medical equipment in hospital, and you can't even know how to repair all of them. Therefore, some high risk level medical equipment that will organize the medical contracts outside to the medical companies. Yes.
Earlier, you shared with us your one of the projects that you've been working on. It's called this oxygen operation theater.
Yeah.
Can you talk a bit more about this?
The full name is we call the hyperbaric oxygen therapy, in the short form HBOT. And I guess everyone can Google it, Google in the browser.
Yeah.
And it is very new project in Hong Kong, and it also launched in, I guess, 2 years ago in 2018, and now it's just launched for 2 years.
Right.
And I'm one of the engineer and responsible for the whole system in Hong Kong. Yeah.
So what is the benefit of using that higher pressure?
Yeah, there are so many cases that we have faced today. For example, the CO poisoning, CO 一氧化碳中毒, CO poisoning, and this is one common disease that happens in Hong Kong. But the traditional treatment is just push the high concentration of the oxygen to the patients, but not in the high pressure levels.
Right.
So in the normal pressure levels. But in the centers that we also can push in the more 2 times or 3 times of the concentration to the patients, that will fasten the treatment sessions.
Right.
Yes. And this is one of the part of the HBOT can do for the patients right now.
Including other treatments.
Yeah, other treatments.
Okay, so let me quickly move on to Jeremy. Now, Jeremy graduated in 2013, right?
Yes.
And you're currently working for the government as a biomedical engineer.
Yes.
So please share with us, what do you do, and whether you find the thing that you learned from this program of any particular use to you.
Yeah, I graduated from 2013, and after that, I obtained my opportunity as a biomedical engineering graduate in the electrical and mechanical services department. And the training program was accredited by the Hong Kong Institution of Engineers, and it's called Scheme A. And after that 2 year of rotation training, I worked as an assistant engineer in health sector division of the MSD, and my main client is the hospital authority, government laboratory, Department of Health, and those kind of healthcare institutions. And my major duty was to conduct clinical engineering, which includes the project management, system design, and so on for those kind of facilities in clinics and hospitals. And other thing is the procurement consultancy.
Right.
When they wish to introduce new technology into Hong Kong, I'll give my opinion on the safety, on the operation, and on the future maintenance aspects. And I also provide it is actually a one-stop shop.
Right.
Yeah, one-stop shop service, and including those maintenance activities and incident investigation. I mainly assist them to carry out their operation and maintenance more efficiently.
Right.
Yeah.
Now, you graduated a few years ago. Now, over the past several years, did you actually see some of the juniors from this program joining your department, and it forms a small family in your organization?
Yeah, if I'm right, we have CUHK intake every year, and I think it's almost every year.
Right.
And so I graduated in 2013, and this year is 2020.
Right.
At least 7 of colleagues are from CUHK, I think.
So there is a sort of mini circle.
Yeah.
in your department.
Yes.
Of our CUHK graduates.
Yes, I'm happy to see them.
Yeah, one of these days we must actually get them to return and then share with us your experience.
Yeah.
Okay, right. So let me quickly move on to Arvin. Yeah. So Arvin Hui. BME graduate. And Arvin is actually now working for a private hospital.
Yes, and this private hospital is actually it's not established, yes. Yeah, because it is the Chinese University Medical Center, which located beside the university.
Right.
And what's the role of, as I'm a biomedical engineer for this hospital, my role is to give the planning of medical equipment procurement and some maintenance planning prospect for the hospital to do basically some planning to echo what we have learned inside the program. As Professor Aaron who said, we learned how to quantify things into some statistics and some some index. And these techniques help me to do my procurement planning and maintenance planning as well for the medical equipment.
Right.
Yeah.
Now, you're now working for a brand new hospital,
Yeah.
and before that, I've known you a few years already. You're working for another private hospitals in Hong Kong. Now, during that deployment, what did you do, and how did you find the BME training become relevant to your position?
As I said, the program taught me how to quantify things, and also taught me some knowledge about medical equipment and medical devices. As I work in my previous hospital, I have to face some daily maintenance work. For example, fixing the ECG machine or fixing some imaging machines, for example, ultrasound. And what I have learned in the program, my mainstream was medical imaging, and those courses and programs provide me the basic knowledge about how the imaging system works, and for example, what is piezoelectric effect, and how the detector detects the signals from outside and show how the patient inside works.
Right.
Yeah, and this technique helped me how to do and know the background knowledge about medical equipment, and also facilitate on my working to do the repair planning, to do the maintenance planning for the medical equipment. Yeah, so the program helped me a lot and make me to be outstanding amongst my colleagues for the repair jobs and then also some management jobs as well.
Yeah. It looks to me that, if I'm correct, all three of you, when you go out to work, you deal with a lot of medical equipment, medical facilities. Now, it's a big variety. I mean, they're complicated. You're more or less acting like an interface between the hospital, the medical doctors, and the contractors who actually supply the services. Now, very often you also manage a team to actually do the actual repair work, but those are small jobs because some of those equipments are too big for in-house repair, right?
Yeah.
And you basically manage those activities. You make sure that the hospital is running. Am I correct?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
As I said, we have to quantify everything. For example, the cost, the maintenance contract cost, the demand from users, and also the contingency plan, so that we quantify everything and make the planning.
Yeah.
Yes, and this is our engineering contribution.
Now, I put the same question to Jeremy as well. Now, Alvin, you worked for public hospital for a few years. Now, did you actually also form a small circle among the graduates of our program over the years in private sector?
Yeah.
You see a small circle forming there too?
Sure.
I noticed that too.
in my previous hospital, I have 3 colleagues, and all of us were from CUHK BME program.
Right.
Yes.
And so also have many other hospitals too, right?
Yes, other hospitals too. When we do some, for example, we need to have a meeting with a vendor, and we will be likely to see, it's you. Hello, my friend. Actually, the vendor is our schoolmate or classmate. Yeah, and also some of actually our alumni are spreading over the industry, and we will be very likely to meet each other so that we have a network to work and to share different experience or some career opportunity as well for BME industry.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a small circle, and you have your classmate representing the vendor, representing Philips, representing Siemens.
Yeah, so that
you actually represent the hospital, and then you two discuss, right? And then you just
those things. We have the network, and we have some small groups, and we have a network now.
Yeah. Now let me go back to all three of you. Now, do you have anything to add? Anything you really want to share further with our audience?
I have something I want to share about. I think study the biomedical engineering, although you can learn a lot of things about the medical instruments and sensors or the imaging technologies from this program. And the other thing is that it adding your interest in other areas of the engineering. For example, from this over the past 4 to 5 years, we can see a lot. There's a very rapid development in the tiny sensors and also the IT technologies.
Right.
Yeah, they are developed so fast. And of course, we're facing now the hard time of the COVID-19. So we can see the IT development and also the other networking development. For example, the telemedicine is developed faster and faster. So this we have to learn the new things, not just about the old things, because that will push you to the next stage for accepting the new things. And also from my experience, working experience, sometimes I also have to deal with other parties. For example, the IT departments and also the engineer from the facility management. That is something that I don't know about, and I can learn from these programs. Yeah, but also you can develop your interest in that, and you will have fun. There's a common language, or I would say the common engineering language that you can translate your feelings about or your thoughts about the medical instruments, and with other engineers from different areas. This is what I want to add some information.
So what you say is, in fact, IT it's moving fast, and it's actually affecting medical organization, and it's making rapid growth. And then you, as a BME personnel, you have to deal with IT and increasingly more in terms of capacity. Right. Yeah. Okay. Right.
I'm Jeremy, and I now work for the government. I was graduated from the Chinese University in 2013. So after that, I joined the government as an engineering trainee. That was at the Scheme A of Hong Kong Institute of Engineers. And after that 2 years, I was employed as an assistant engineer. And my main duty was to conduct clinical engineering. That is the project management, the procurement of engineering plans for hospitals, and also procurement of medical devices. When they need to introduce new procedures, I will help them to do market survey, benchmarking, and also the assistance in procurement. And I also do maintenance for medical equipment, for example, the preventive maintenance and also the life cycle planning, and also the redesign of medical devices, and also clinical support, for example, operation and also the incident investigation, and that was my main duty.
Yeah. I'll do the follow-up question after Henry is finished. Okay. Yeah. Right. Yeah.
Kenneth Kwan, I'm now working as a physicist in public hospital. So 10 years ago, I was admitted to BME department. Very luckily, 10 years since I was admitted, I'm still working closely for what I've learned during my study of BME in CUHK here. So So I'll talk about some of my background. So I was a longibus student actually. So I studied GCE A level in overseas, and then I joined the BME department. So after 3 years after I graduated, I went on study a top master program in medical physics and engineering. And it was a 1-year program. And then after I graduated, I joined a clinical research organization, which main duty is doing data management and some programming on image processing, which helps the pharmaceutical company to develop drugs to tackle brain dementia. And then a few years later, then I came back to Hong Kong, and then I joined the public hospital and working as a medical physicist now. So I was very glad that the knowledge I learned during my study here is very helpful for my working career now. So more like the clinical knowledge and engineering skills, and also some physicists behind are very useful. So I'm glad that I was admitted here.
Well, thank you, Kenneth. Now, Jeremy.
Yeah.
Could you tell us? I mean, we have potential applicants who are preparing to think of joining us.
Yeah.
If you have a few words of advice to them, what would you give them? As a student who is about to come to university, may not specific to BME. I mean, you're a successful role model to them.
Thank you. I think my advice is to think clearly. What do you want? For example, my consideration when I selected BME in CUHK is I am a hands-on guy.
Right.
I like to develop things by myself, and I also like to. I'm a fact-based guy, so that is quantitative guy. I would say that I'm a quantitative guy. So engineering is my first choice. So BME was my first choice. So when I selected biomedical engineering in CU, I have several considerations because we have a decent engineering school. We also have decent medical and life science school, and these are major considerations when I selected BME.
Right.
And for DSE candidates or the students who are thinking about university, you need to know what do you need, and you can think about how the university can provide their best education to you. So I think that is the major consideration. Yeah.
Okay. Now, so if I could summarize, you were very interested, or you've been very interested in solving problems.
Yes.
You want to, use your hands and really, create solutions.
Yeah.
And you're very quantitative in the sense that you basically use science to solve problems. Now, my next question is, can you think of anything specific to the BME program that has helped you in your present career?
Yeah.
Just name one or two,
It basically helped me everywhere. To be honest, the commercial world is a little bit different than the academic world. But what university can give us is the knowledge. I'm not being over modest, but I cannot do everything by myself.
Right.
And university cannot teach you everything you need in your career.
Right.
And not, of course, not all, right? But it will train you up as a logical guy, and it will give you basic knowledge to help you in understanding in the future. So during my work, I need to either purchase or to do a market survey about trending technology. And some of them are not even invented during my university study. But the logical mind that the CUHK trained me helped me to understand the basic
give you foundation.
The foundation, the science behind, and the working principle for my knowledge would give us a very good foundation to help me to understand the technology in my career.
Yeah. Good. Right, now, I'm going to switch over to Kenneth.
Nice.
Now, you're working as a medical physicist, right?
Yes.
Now, is your role any, similar to a radiology, person, radiographer, for example, or, people who actually work more towards the physics aspect of medicine, or you basically deal with all the new technologies in hospital?
Yeah. So if as a radiographer, well, I'm not a radiographer, but if a radiographer is more, will interact with more patients, like a bridge between the doctors and the patients, like kind of a medium. And as a medical physicist, I'm more focusing on how the technology will treating the patients and how to do diagnostics problem.
Right.
So it's more technology or backstage
Right.
role in the hospital.
Right.
So kind of similar to biomedical engineer in the hospital, but I'm more focusing on oncology or radiology departments.
Right. So your clients are the internal medical professionals.
Yeah.
And the radiographer's client is more for the patients, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, I actually noticed a question here posted. Biomedical engineers, can we be qualified for being a radiographer?
I don't think so, but
Not by training, right?
Not by training. After you graduate, and if you want to do radiographer, then might need to
Take extra courses.
take extra courses. So yeah.
Will this shorten the pathway to do that?
I would say like medical physics is combination of what radiographer need to know and what biomedical engineering doing.
Right.
So yeah, I don't think biomedical engineering and radiographer is more, they don't really overlap each other. But then medical physics overlap both.
Okay, right. Okay, I see what you mean. Yeah, yeah. Now, you have a very interesting pathway, right? You came in as a non-JUPAS, and then after graduation, you went somewhere else, and then you came back, right?
Yeah.
Now that route, you have obviously taken a bit longer time to come back. Can you share with us, the positive aspect of that experience in terms of exposure, in terms of helping you to do job well, helping you to get through in your career pathway?
I think so. Studying overseas gives me a broad exposure on the world, like how to survive when you are studying abroad, like being alone, of get rid of the homesick, and then come back to the CUHK, and then you precious time and the family time with your time with your family, and also gaining more experience on how or more interactive with the students around, the local students around here, and then go back study overseas again for my top master. And then because when I study the bachelor's here, it's actually very tough because it's quite kind of sometimes quite competitive.
Right.
But then go back to studying abroad, and then you try to understand what you were doing and what you were studying before. And because we have a goal or the application, and after since I joined the research organization, I understand the goal of the basic skills that I've developed and then what I've learned, and then I'm now getting everything ready to reaching the goal. I think that's my experience.
So your situation is similar to Jeremy. It is the feedback is what the BME program has provided you is a foundation. It's a foundation for you to actually acquire more specialized knowledge for your career, right? Yes. That all depends on where you end up working for, right? Now, you have graduated how many years ago?
2013.
Oh, 13. So you also,
Same
right?
year,
So
yeah.
you are classmates.
Yeah.
Now you have spent a few years in the industry already, and over the past several years, have you come, bump into your juniors, students who graduated from this program, and work alongside you, or in the same industry, and then I mean, do you often come across those such people?
Yeah, actually, two of my classmates are medical physicists now, like same as me, but they're working in different hospital and working
see,
in a different specialty.
How about other representing other organizations?
Yes, because we have to maybe buying some equipment and all the stuff, and then some of my vendors are working like were biomedical engineering graduates.
Oh,
so sometimes I will anywhere.
Philip Siemens and all this, right? GE and all this, right? Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
For me, I see my junior classmates every year. For every year, we intake some graduates, and I basically see CUHK every year.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, so in fact, I mean, I asked you the same question before. The BME graduate alumni has formed a sort of small community in the trade, right? Yeah. Since this is an expanding one, and the earlier ones basically become the pillar of the industry.
Yes. Seeing CUHK everywhere.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. Yeah. Have you ever considered doing? I mean, there's this question here. Doing PhD and research, right? Have you ever considered doing PhD?
For myself, yes, in the past. But maybe if I have a chance, then I will still go for further study.
Right.
But then I kind of want, because going to research, we have to fully occupied by not just working.
Right.
So I want to do something that I really enjoy doing.
Right. Yeah. I mean, now that you more or less coming to a stage that you can identify what you want to do in the next another 20 years, 30 years, your next goal. Yeah. Doing PhD or research degree is a possible pathway. How about Jeremy? You are a civil servant, right?
Yeah.
Could it be more difficult for you?
In my year 3, I was actually have consulted the professor about the PhD study, but I was very lucky. I obtained several job offers. So the decision that time was to enter my career early.
Right.
So I once thought of a PhD.
You can still do part-time. I mean, civil servants has a lot of opportunity to encourage them, employees to engage in doing PhDs and research degrees.
Yeah.
And I encourage you to do that, because BME itself is expanding and sort of progressing all the time.
Yeah, agree. Yeah.
I mean, you see surgeries, how they're being done nowadays, right?
Yes.
Compared to 5-10 years ago.